So in my Islands update for this week, I'm going to be talking about how Mallorca is under pressure, not from tourism, but from a population explosion that we've had here on the island. Plus, I've got news of strikes taking place over the festive season and the weather forecast for the week ahead. Now, normally I do give you a cruise news update as well, but we've got absolutely no big cruise ships coming into a Palma port for this week. We've just got a few ferries. Now, I'm starting this video over here on San Matias Beach in Palmanova. I'm going to switch up the location as we head on down along the coast here to bring you my island update too. I'm also going to have a longer video coming out from here as well, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, if you want to see what your favourite holiday resort looks like at this time of year. But we're going to start this video by talking about why Mallorca is so busy. And it's a little bit hard to believe actually, if you look out behind me, how busy Mallorca is today. Well, it's obviously not busy. We're out of season. The holiday resorts are closed, but we have seen a population explosion on this island and in the Balearic Islands over the past few years. And we could see that just yesterday when I filmed my live stream looking at the Christmas lights over in Palma. Go and check out that video if you haven't done so already. It was a beautiful video. It was really, really lovely, but you could just get an idea of how busy Palma is now and how busy it has become, even on a Sunday night too. And we've seen how big events as well have had to change location for this festive season to account for the increase of population over here in Mallorca. Now, most recently we've had the Christmas light switch on moved from the iconic Paseo del Borne over to the less than glittering Plaza España. And we're also seeing next weekend, and heads up as well if you're heading over to Mallorca for a long weekend, maybe next weekend, to come and check out the Christmas lights. The line dancing Santas that would normally have filling the Paseo del Borne on a Saturday night, it's quite a spectacle, has now been moved to a much quieter Sunday as well to try and ease congestion and crowd control on the Paseo del Borne. And just as a side note as well, that's taking place at 6 o'clock, just on the off chance that you are over next Sunday on the 14th of December. So also last night as well, when I was walking through Palma, I tried to show you, actually I wanted to show you what the brand new Christmas market was like over in Safashina Park in Palma. I couldn't even get that in there with my camera. I chose not to walk in there because it was just so busy, and I did make a recorded video of that as well. Also check out the channel later on in the week if you want to see what that was like. But it's no secret here that Palma in particular is becoming incredibly busy. The island is becoming incredibly busy, and that's without you guys coming over here on holiday too. So what's going on? Well, according to the National Union of Statistics, the Balearic Islands has witnessed something like the second highest population growth out of all the autonomous communities, and that means the areas in Spain. Funnily enough, more people than ever are moving over here to Mallorca, apart from I think it's the Valencia region. As a result, in regards to population numbers over here in Mallorca, we have in the region of 971,000 residents here on this little island. Haven't quite hit the 1 million mark yet, but I'm sure we'll hit that in a few years' time. So in 2000, and I moved here in 2005, we had a population in Mallorca of 871,000 approximate residents, and that's permanent residents living here. So we've had an increase of 100,000 residents in the past 25 years, and bearing in mind the size of the island, the size of the towns, the size of the resorts as well, that has added to incredible pressure on the local services here. We've seen the protests taking place here in Mallorca. The mainstream media have had you believe that it's all about tourism, but it's not all about tourism. Of course, it's about the increase of housing prices over here on the island, and we've seen prices double here in the space of around 7 or 8 years as well, and it's literally nigh on impossible to find somewhere to rent that costs anything under €1,000 per month too. This population boom as well has also led to traffic jams, and my goodness me, we've seen them in the summer. I'm always warning you guys about the traffic jams, particularly coming up from Santa Ponsa, Magaluf, Palmanova, heading on in the direction of Palma and heading around the Via Cintura, which is the main ring road that heads on towards the airport during the summer months. You hear my warnings about that, but we have been blamed, local residents have been blamed for filling up the roads. I beg to differ actually, because at the moment getting around from Palma Palmanova, say to where I live in Palma. It's about 7 kilometres in distance. Takes me about 4 or 5 minutes to drive. In the summer, coming back up the coast in the afternoon can take me around 45 minutes. So I do think that tourism does have pretty much an additional impact and pressure on the island as well, along with the growth in population here too. But what is actually quite frightening to see over the winter months as well is that the public transport is really stretched, and it's been really super busy over here. So Admin Anne and I from over on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group were discussing this the other day, and we're seeing how busy the buses are even at this time of year. In fact, we've seen the red and yellow buses coming through Cala Major, in particular the 108 bus, running complete in the afternoons. And this is in December. It's not June or July, it's December. It's absolutely incredible. My experience as well, travelling on the local buses as well, I'm seeing them very, very busy too. Like I said, we're not even in the tourism season either, and we can obviously expect that to get worse as we head on into April when things start to open up once again. Even worse as well, they've decided to take away, during the whole remodelling of the Paseo Maritimo in Palma, the whole waterfront area in Palma, they've decided to take away loads of parking spaces, several hundred parking spaces. Can't remember the exact figure, but it's meant that even I don't want to take my car into Palma any longer. Residents are entitled to free public transport over here in Mallorca, so I have my bus card. I do jump on the bus now just to get into Palma, particularly at this time of year. That's probably going to change as we head on into the summer, but with buses being packed and with there being absolutely no parking spaces either, it's not really worth your while to drive. And if you've been watching my videos as well, I do advise taking a public transport or cope with the stress of finding public parking, particularly on a Saturday night when the Christmas lights are on and over the festive season in Palma too. So what do I advise this time of year? I mean, it's quite an incredible video to make. I wasn't expecting to make this, but if you want to avoid the crowds over here in Mallorca over the festive season, well, I advise renting a car and getting out and about around the island. Pretty much the rest of Mallorca is pretty much empty, which is absolutely wonderful, and this is the perfect time of year to visit. In fact, go and check out my live stream from last night in Palma. I spoke to 2 really lovely holiday makers who tracked me down on the Rambler and told me why they visit Mallorca at this time of year. Might actually give you some inspiration, not least because we have 17 to 18 degrees today, and I'm not wearing my coat either, so we also get some nice days too. Also as well, if you're looking at visiting Palma and checking out the festive lights but you don't want to get caught in the crowds, I recommend visiting between Monday and Thursday. They're going to be your quietest days in Palma. Friday, Saturday and Sunday are going to be super busy. Friday and Saturday nights are going to be absolutely packed right up to the 6th of January. I will be making more content over there. I'm going to be braving the crowds and heading on into Palma next weekend, that's for sure. But if you do want to avoid the crowds, try and avoid the weekends if you're coming over here visiting. And also if you're planning for next year too and you want to avoid the crowds, avoid the Christmas lights switch on and maybe come on the first week of December as well, or right at the end of November, and that way it's just kind of before the whole festive season really gets underway. So next up, we're going to be hearing about New Year's Eve, what's going to be happening on New Year's Eve over here in Mallorca, and indeed if our very tiny Plaza de Court is going to have some kind of ticketing system moving forward. This is going to be the next big event over here, and I'm going to be wondering what's going to be happening about this. I'll bring you news of that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, but things are going to have to change over here. Crowd management is going to have to change, and we're seeing increasing pressures here on the island over and above just tourism, over and above you guys that are coming over here. I'm not complaining about tourism, don't get me wrong, but you can see what kind of pressures this island has and what kind of pressure this island is under as well, to try and give a pleasant experience not only to people coming over here but also to the island's residents. Anyway, let's pick up the camera, let's head on a little bit further down the beach. I'm going to be talking about strikes which could be impacting festive travel for this winter. So I am on the far side of San Matías Beach. I'm kind of sandwiched in between the Globales Santa Lucia and the San Matías Beach Hotel. So what else do I have for you today? Well, I have news of a travel warning from Luton Airport. This is in the UK. Apologies to my international viewers unless you are flying through Luton this Christmas. So I'm just referring to an article that was on the BBC website. It says that passengers flying from Luton Airport during the festive season have been warned of disruption as workers prepare to strike, a union says. Unite said EasyJet check-in and baggage handling staff at the Bedfordshire Airport, who were employed by the DHL group, were set to walk out for 6 days in a pay dispute over pay. About 200 workers are due to take action on certain days between 3 a.m. GMT on the 19th of December till 3 a.m. on the 29th of December. So that's right over the Christmas season, after rejecting the company's latest pay offer of a 4.5% pay rise, the union says. DHL said it was deeply disappointed at the strike action and it was committed to constructive talks to reach a solution. Okay, so that's really bad news regarding festive travel. Hopefully it's going to be resolved before we do hit the festive season. I'll keep you posted about that. In the meantime, if you are hoping to travel, I would really recommend bringing hand luggage. If you are going to travel through Luton Airport, don't have check-in luggage at all. You can fit quite a lot into a cabin bag. Get one of those vacuum packers as well. I do have one in my Mallorca Under the Sun holiday shop on Amazon. I'll drop a link to that vacuum packer below. I actually have one myself as well. I think I'm going to have to make a video demonstrating that because we're just travelling with hand luggage over the winter too. So that's something to bear in mind. Also, sometimes when you do hear news of strikes, they often get ironed out before they actually happen as well. So fingers crossed that gets sorted out well ahead of the festive season. More strike news as well. You may see this story reappearing in the papers too, and it's about the Azul handling strikes, which have been going on from about August, I think, in Spanish airports. And well, if you watch my video coming back from a very lovely festive location in mainland Spain just the other night, you'll see that Azul handling don't just load bags onto a plane, but they also provide the stairs as well up to a plane. Now, I do believe that these strikes are ongoing, but it didn't really affect our flight at all, and they do only strike on certain times and on certain days, and they do try and maintain some kind of service level at the airports too. I'm hoping this is going to be the case over at Luton Airport too. Is it something to worry about at the moment? Fingers crossed, no. Fingers crossed they're going to maintain some kind of service over there, but let's find out. And in terms of Azul handling, I've got absolutely no idea whether that got resolved at all. I can't find any information about it, and they have threatened to keep striking up till the 31st of December. But from what I've seen over the past few months, it hasn't actually really affected operations at Palma Airport too much. So maybe this is something you don't need to worry about too much either, as I believe over at Luton they provide a similar kind of service. Okay, so finally, what else do I have for you today? Last week I missed off the cruise news, forgetting and not seeing actually that we did have a cruise ship in last week. This week we've got no big cruise ships coming in, we've just got lots of ferries coming through Palma Port, but that's about it. However, weather, to bring you some good news in this island update this week, you can see I'm actually gradually pushing up the sleeves on my jumper here. I'm nearly down to my t-shirt because this week we're going to be having highs of 20 degrees Celsius. We're going to have a lovely week. If you are twiddling your thumbs in the cold country at the moment, you can get over here to Mallorca this week, book that flight and try and find yourself some accommodation, because we're going to have a really nice week. We're going to have a mixture of sunshine and clouds. I can't really see a sign of too much rain around, but this is looking like a typical December week for travel. You're going to get all the very best of the festiveness with the Christmas lights in Palma and around the island as well, with the absolute glorious days of just being able to sit on the beach as well and catch some sun too. So consider that if you're coming over. So consider that if you're hoping to make a break out of where you're living for this week. Okay everyone, I will be out and about this week and I've got plenty of content coming out, a little bit different from what I normally put out, but I really appreciate any views I do get during the month of December. I'm going to be having plenty of content though coming out in January moving forwards as you guys start to plan your holiday ahead. So consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Don't forget, you can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram, also under Mallorca Under the Sun. And I'm also going to drop a couple of interesting videos appearing both here and here for you to check out on YouTube. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.